I went into Days Gone almost completely blind. I bought it with a gift card my brother got me for Christmas and didn't really know what to expect apart from seeing an E3 demo showing an insane horde all the way back in 2016. I assumed it would be just another generic open world zombie shooter, but it quickly became one of my top 3 favourite PlayStation exclusives of this generation. The thing that kept me coming back to Days Gone was the story. The gameplay mechanics are fairly common: looting, crafting, a skill tree, etc. But the story really took me off guard. It's dark and gritty, and over the course of the 40 odd hours you spend in the world of Days Gone, the character development of Deacon St. John, the main protagonist, makes you want to keep coming back for more. The story starts out 2 years after the zombie apocalypse in America. You play as Deacon St. John, an ex-motorcycle crew member who has turned to a life of bounty hunting and drifting between settlements, doing jobs to pass the time with his friend Boozer. Not too long after the game begins, however, Boozer gets his arm severely burned by a group of anarchists called Rippers. They worship the infected, and Deacon is forced to fly solo. Deacon assumed after the outbreak his wife Sarah had died, but early in the story he spots a strange black helicopter fly overhead, meaning there were more people than just the survivors in the camps out there. It meant there was a chance his wife was still alive, so he decided to pursue the helicopter to find out more about what's really going on in the world and with this outbreak of infected. That's a general summary of the beginning of the story. I don't want to go too in depth into it because I don't want to spoil anything. I feel like the story of Days Gone is not something that can be easily explained, so it's something you need to experience for yourself. Deacon St. John is an amazing main character because his personality is so grounded. He really makes you feel like you're controlling a genuine person who's had their life uprooted by a tragedy and is just doing what they can do to survive. But you also feel powerful because he is essentially a mercenary and is very skilled in stealth, hand-to-hand combat, and is basically an assassin with the ability to precisely use any gun he picks up. That's one of the great things about Days Gone. The combat is really fun, and because you're playing as someone who would have led a rugged enough life before the infected outbreak, he is believably experienced in combat and gains even more skills as you progress through the world of Days Gone. Everything from taking down a camp of marauders to a huge horde of freakers or even terrifying infected bears is well thought out, and you are encouraged to go about these situations tactically and methodically, get the best outcome you can in those intense moments of gameplay. The world you play in doesn't feel like a typical empty wasteland that you would expect to find in other post-apocalyptic games. Days Gone is set in Oregon. Not the most exciting sounding setting for a game, but the map feels lived in and is a beautiful landscape. I played on PS4 Pro, and let me tell you, this is a really nice looking game. Sony Bound Studio clearly put an insane amount of time and effort into making this game look nice, and in 4K it was so nice to play. It was also the first game I got to play in 4K after getting my PS4 Pro, so I was really looking closely at all the details, and if you're a graphics enthusiast like many people are, you won't be disappointed. I even found myself opening up the photo mode from time to time, which is something I never do, but I just wanted to get a good look of what was going around the screen at certain parts of the game, because it all looks so polished. And when I say the world feels lived in, I mean it. There are many animals you will encounter in Days Gone. Some are infected, some are just living in the wild, but they feel like they are implemented into the game so well that it adds just another layer of the world feeling so alive. In addition to that, practically every building you come across in Days Gone can be entered, which I really appreciated because I remember being younger and playing games like Spider-Man 2 and The Simpsons Hit and Run on PS2 and wondering why I couldn't go into every skyscraper or house. Obviously now I don't see why you would want to do that, and the technical limitations of the PS2 wouldn't have allowed that anyway, but what I'm trying to drive home is the point that the ability to go into whatever house you want in Days Gone is appreciated, because it just adds a nice extra level of depth to an already really expansive game. The world is full of random encounters with survivors. For example, a man trapped in a car surrounded by zombies with no way out that you have to rescue, or someone that's been taken in and tied up by a group of marauders that it's up to you to set free. You can send these people to different camps that are scattered around the map. These camps all have the same things, such as a bike shop for your motorcycle to repair, refuel and purchase upgrades to improve it. They also have an arms dealer for getting better weapons, purchasing grenades and medkits, and for filling up your ammunition. As you progress through the story, it's important you do job submissions for these camps because each one has different things to offer. One might have really good guns but no motorcycle upgrades available, and vice versa. This adds the element of having to decide which camp you will send more rescued survivors to and do more work for, depending on what you want to prioritise, which leads to some difficult decisions that you need to make throughout the game. One unique mechanic Days Gone brings to the table is actually the way you traverse the beautiful open world. You have a motorcycle, and as you progress through the game, you can buy upgrades for it from all the different bike vendors in different camps. You get to upgrade things like your bike's durability for when you're out with the freaks, or an upgrade for its engine to allow you to reach higher speeds. One thing you always need to be aware of is your fuel level, because if that runs out, you have no fast travel and no easy way to get somewhere quick. Luckily, the world is littered with jerry cans, so if you do run out of gas, it's never overly difficult to refuel, unless the nearest fuel source is surrounded by enemies. In a weird way, as you play Days Gone, your bike is your biggest companion, because without it, Deacon St. John wouldn't be able to live the lifestyle he has as a drifter. It has a personal connection to him because of his life before the outbreak, whenever he was in a motorcycle gang, and it makes a lot of sense because before the pandemic, whenever he was in that motorcycle gang, it gave him plenty of experience in handling a powerful motorcycle. Your bike can be very useful in combat, not only because you can acquire an upgrade that allows you to carry ammunition on the sides of it, but also because if you're not sure how dangerous the situation will be, you can drive in, shoot your pistol into a horde and ride away without being scratched. And that brings me to what is probably the thing that Days Gone is best known for, its insane hordes of zombies. The first time I came across one, I was really taken back by just how many of them can be on the screen at once. It was like nothing I've ever seen before in a video game, and the threat of them hang over you for the majority of the game till you're finally well equipped enough and skilled to take on hundreds of freakers at one time. The feeling of satisfaction you get after finally being able to take a horde down is extremely rewarding, and after you exterminate one horde, it makes you want to go on and complete the next one and the next one and the next one, and there are a lot of them, 40 to be exact, including absolutely massive ones that are extra challenging and extra fun. After you complete the main storyline of Days Gone, it's not over yet, and this is a long game. I spent a good 10 hours playing after the credits had rolled to get the platinum trophy. It's not a super difficult platinum to achieve, but it requires completing some monotonous tasks. However, nothing too boring. One trophy is obtained by collecting 75% of all the collectibles in the world, which was tedious but worth the satisfaction of obtaining the platinum. Also, you take down most of those 40 hordes after the credits, because up until that point you're not super equipped to take them on. The last thing I think that needs to be mentioned about Days Gone is its amazing soundtrack. You've been listening to it throughout the video. I'm the type of person that doesn't usually pay too much attention to the soundtrack of a video game. I definitely enjoy good music in games, but I like the Days Gone soundtrack by Nathan Whitehead so much I found myself just listening to it in the background when I'm doing something. I was even listening to it in the background whenever I was writing this script. Not only is it great music, it captures all the emotions of the game's storyline perfectly, and I've never seen a game's soundtrack reflect upon what is happening on screen as well as the score of Days Gone did. I would highly recommend checking it out. My personal favourite song on the album is We've All Done Things. There is also a pretty great Lewis Capaldi song called Days Gone Quiet, which is part of the soundtrack, which I didn't know existed until I sat down to talk about the game, so if you're a Capaldi fan, it's worth a listen. I really enjoyed my time playing Days Gone, especially because I didn't know what I was getting myself into when I bought it, and I certainly didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I did. This was a fairly spoiler-free review of the game, so if you still haven't checked out Days Gone, you really need to, because it's one of the best PS4 exclusives and deserves all the support people can give it.